Welcome, and thank you all for joining us for this broadcast. This is the Lower Hill Virtual Community Meeting. Given the current situation with COVID-19, we felt it was important to hold a virtual session so we could still keep you updated while keeping everyone safe and healthy. We have a few things to share with you today. Before we review our agenda, we wanted to introduce our presenters. For those that attended our January meeting, you may recognize us. My name is Elaine. I'm with the architecture firm Gensler.
Hello, this is Matt Corris. I work with the Buccini Pollin Group, and I'll be managing the design and construction efforts for the commercial portion of the Lower Hill development.
Hello, everyone. My name is Olivia Grunzik. I also work for the Buccini Pollin Group, and I've been mainly focusing on some of the community efforts and MWBE inclusion for the project.
So today we'll be talking about the Block G1 project. Matt will be walking us through design updates related to that effort. We'll be talking about MWBE engagement and procurement and where our efforts are to date on that project as well. One of the things that's important for us to highlight with each of these conversations are the CCIP focus areas. The CCIP focus areas are something that came out of the CCIP agreement that drives this project. All of the partners and participants that come onto this project participate in this agreement. So it frames our approach, it frames our strategies, and it's something that we look to as we move forward with decisions that we make on this effort.
Thank you, Elaine. So here's the Lower Hill site. The highlighted buildings indicate the first phase of construction for the entire development. The Buccini Pollin Group's focus is going to be the commercial aspect of the development, indicated by the blue highlighted buildings. One of the first buildings will be Block E, a music venue for the community that'll sit atop an 800 space parking garage. And then the focus of this presentation is the G1 office tower, indicated on the slide left. It was announced in December that First National Bank, or FNB, will be the anchor tenant for the G1 tower. It's a dynamic company that is excited to be a part of the community and will be able to reinforce the ties already in place with the Hill District. This slide indicates the summary of the G1 partnership, indicating our partner and anchor tenant, First National Bank, the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Buccini Pollin Group. The Buccini Pollin Group will be managing the construction and design of the project. We have extensive experience with urban redevelopment, in particular with misuse applications like this tower. Here's the rendering and proposed view of the commercial portion of the Lower Hill development site. This slide indicates the rendering of what the tower will look like, a portion of some of the other office buildings, and the cap park, accentuating the open space throughout the site. This iconic building will be 26 stories tall and 400 feet. This $220 million investment for the Lower Hill will be the first portion of the development. Again, this iconic building will add to the skyline while maintaining great views from the Middle Hill out into the central business district. Slide indicates the footprint of the building. This is the ground floor lobby entrance, which will also have access to proposed retail areas off of the plaza and access to a 100-space parking garage. Here's a typical floor plate for the office portion of the building. As mentioned earlier, we'll be responsible for the core and shell of the building, which means the structure, the facade, and the access points up throughout the building. This slide demonstrates a cross-section of the building, highlighting some of the points I mentioned earlier. We'll have two stories of parking garage, roughly 100 spaces above retail, with all office above. Here you'll see the proposed view from the Hill District down into the central business district, noting that this iconic FNB tower will not impede any of the views and only accentuate and frame in the thoroughfares that we'll create with this development. Some of the amenities that this development will be bringing to the table is, as mentioned earlier, the Block E parking garage, housing potentially 800 spaces for commuters and event goers. We've got the office tower, and we've got a number of open spaces that will eventually link Washington Avenue with Crawford. We'll have a food hall and access for food trucks, music venues, etc. The whole development will have a tremendous public impact, G1 having a major portion of that. We're assembling design teams as we speak. We're hoping to incorporate the community, the city, the county in all design efforts and construction efforts. We'll be amassing teams from both of those fields. There'll be a lot of reinvestment into the community, not only to infrastructure and buildings, but to the futures of the residents. This slide indicates the current timeline for G1, indicating the design kickoff April 1st. We'll spend a large part of the summer going through design and hope to have shovels in the ground late next fall. You'll notice that Block E, the music venue / parking garage, is following shortly behind. We'll be running construction and design efforts on both projects eventually in parallel.
Thank you, Matt. As we mentioned earlier, the CCIP focus areas really frame our collective approach on this project. As part of those goals, MWBE participation is targeted at 45%. That number breaks down into 30% MBE and 15% WBE. It's worth mentioning in our experience with other large projects in the Pittsburgh area, participation targets are much lower. So as we'll see in the next few slides, this participation target is driving new partnerships, collaborations, and a strong outreach campaign. Further, we've been prioritizing our search looking for firms or individuals in the Hill District first. And we looked at the city of Pittsburgh and the greater Pittsburgh region, qualified Pennsylvania certified MWBE firms before going to national MWBE firms. As part of that search, we leveraged our database and experience from the Gensler Pittsburgh team working on the current airport project, as well as other previous Gensler projects in the Pittsburgh area. Buccini Pollin has been working with our partners to extensively build up their DBE database through phone calls, personal contacts, and interviews, as well as events like our January meeting, where we had a chance to connect with many of you that we met that evening and reached out afterwards. Our efforts to date have us at 35% of the total design fee for the G1 project. That breaks down to 26.75 MBE and 8.37 WBE. We continue to work to bring that closer to the target, but are proud of the efforts thus far to bring us to this point. Beyond the hard numbers, we also see an opportunity for this project to provide a window into the architecture, engineering, and construction fields for young people in the community. We're in the process of connecting with local schools, youth-oriented nonprofits, and higher ed institutions to see how we might engage. Activities like classroom visits, site field trips, or participating in job fairs all create opportunities to bring this project to the community in a different way. We're also in conversation with Project Pipeline through the National Organization for Minority Architects, the Pittsburgh chapter, around their summer camp program targeting middle school and high school students.
Thanks, Elaine. So this slide right here outlines some of the community milestones made in the last few months. You can also see what's down the road for the next upcoming months as well. For example, we have the SEA and URA preliminary approval of G1 takedown expected in May. We've been making sure to focus our efforts to connect with the community through meetings and presentations like this one. And we've been really trying to utilize our online resources by further developing our website and newsletter. So we've had a great advancement related to our database and outreach since the last community meeting back in January. As you can see from this slide, the number of minority and women-owned businesses that we're meeting and talking to continues to grow every day. We also continue to work with our nonprofit partners seen here to provide the best resources for those who are interested in the project. So the pathways listed here that we went over in our last meeting outline some of the different ways that you can get involved. We encourage all of those who are interested in opportunities to go to the workforce tab of our website and fill out our intake form. This is the easiest way to get added to our database and let us know what services you offer or what you're looking for. You can also use the email listed here below for any questions. So in terms of next steps, we're focusing at looking at procurement opportunities through the general contractor for G1. We just wrapped up term sheets for our senior lender in the last few weeks. We're seeking investments from minority-owned investment companies. And in terms of soft costs, like I mentioned before, we're further developing our website and marketing strategies to make it easier to connect with the community on all fronts. And of course, we're continually making efforts to meet and speak with those who are interested in the project. Lastly, as this is a virtual meeting, we're offering the community a chance for a Q&A by filling out the form linked here. The link should be available wherever this video is shared. All questions should be submitted by 5 p.m. Friday, April 3rd. The team will be answering your questions and we will be sending out answers in our next newsletter. So wrapping everything up, I'd like to thank all of our presenters and all of those who are watching this presentation right now. It's unfortunate that we can't be face-to-face at the moment, but given the current conditions, we plan to push forward with this project and do our best to keep everyone informed. From us to you, stay safe, stay healthy, and we look forward to your feedback.